Hello and welcome back to Embodied Astrology. This is a weekly series where I share practical teachings and intuitive messages about the astrology of the week ahead so that you can work with it to embody your most authentic self and live your best life. The big headline, of course, this week is that we have a lunar eclipse in Pisces on Thursday, August 27th. Not only is this the last eclipse of 2026, it's actually the last eclipse that we're going to have in the sign of Pisces for quite some time. So on top of normal eclipse themes that we've been experiencing for the last couple weeks, these drastic endings and beginnings, accelerations of timelines, kind of unpredictable, unstable energy, we're also experiencing some closure. We are closing the loop on things. Things are kind of wrapping up, and we also get this energy of breakthroughs, of kind of important conversations that we're having and receiving a lot of clarity. So I have two key messages for you this week about the astrology that we're about to experience, as well as things that you can do to really stay grounded and stay sane through these wild astrological times. So let's dive in. When I look at the astrology of this week, I get the sense that if you can start to think about things in a new way or approach things from a different angle, it can completely change your trajectory. On Tuesday, Mercury is going to be entering Virgo, which is one of its home signs. Mercury functions really well here. And then just before the eclipse on Thursday, August 27th, Mercury and the Sun are going to come together, which is called a cazimi. So this is always a point in the Mercury cycle where we experience some clarity, we have some breakthroughs, we get this new idea. And it just feels like with Mercury returning to one of its home signs, this feels like a time that new opportunities are opening up. There are these new timelines that are coming forward, and you have this ability to see things from a new perspective. It almost feels like the thing that you were looking for or the solution you were seeking was actually just hiding in plain sight the whole time. And now that Mercury is supercharged in Virgo and we're experiencing this kind of like revelation of what's been hiding underneath or what's in the shadows or kind of these like unexpected things coming to the surface, it feels like, oh my God, the answer was here all along. How did I never consider this? Or this pathway was never available to me, but all of a sudden it's kind of shown itself. And so this is a great week to really be on the lookout for that sort of thing. And as you get these new ideas, you have these breakthroughs, you experience this clarity, this is gonna be really helpful as we begin to process and integrate all the stuff that's been coming up over the past couple weeks throughout eclipse season. The really big piece of astrology that we're dealing with this week is this lunar eclipse in Pisces, which is happening on Thursday, August 27th, with this being the last lunar eclipse that we're gonna have in Pisces for quite some time. And the first lunar eclipse that we experienced in Pisces in recent memory was in September of 2024. It feels like this is the third act. This is like the final closing of the loop of something in your life that is related to these Piscean themes of trust, of surrender, of connecting to your spiritual side and mystical side, or whatever the Pisces ruled part of your chart is. Something here is coming to a close. We are finishing something up. There is something wrapping up in this area of your life. And it feels a little disruptive, not necessarily in a bad way, but maybe in a way that you're like, holy shit, that's not what I was expecting at all. This is because the eclipse is sitting in a square with Uranus, and Uranus is the planet of disruption, change, innovation. And so there is kind of this unexpected element to whatever is happening under this lunation that you're kind of like, whoa, that came out of nowhere. There is something about this particular eclipse that feels a little disruptive, like there's something happening or something closing, or the way that something is ending is not at all what you expected, but it does feel like clarifying. It feels like there's resolve here again because Mercury just came together with the Sun in Virgo, which is one of its home signs. So although there's something unexpected happening here, it feels like it gives you some closure, it gives you some resolve. There's something about this information that kind of like allows the dust to settle and you can start to integrate and move on as the week continues. A little story time. The first lunar eclipse that we had in Pisces back in September of 2024, I basically worked with that eclipse and decided to quit my job and essentially start this business. And I think when it comes to eclipses, understandably, there's like a lot of trepidation around working with the eclipse. There's a lot of astrologers out there that will say like, you know, don't use this eclipse to manifest, or some astrologers are even like, don't even go outside, which if that's what you believe, I totally respect that, and that's amazing. But I think when it comes to experiencing these kind of volatile, interesting, disruptive periods of astrology, And really, with any transit that's happening, my recommendation for you is to really just use your discernment. So just because a lot of astrologers, myself included, will say like, yeah, maybe you don't want to manifest on this one, you know, maybe you want to just kind of sit back and let life happen. If there is something in your life that you kind of feel like you need to crack the door open on, like you're welcoming this change. For me, for example, at my job, I really just felt like I couldn't fully express myself, that there was more to my passions when it came to my career, and I was really just ready for a change. And the energy was definitely reflected in my chart with all the eclipse stuff happening. And my mentor, Julian, I remember her saying to me, like, you know, you could just let this eclipse pass you by and you could put a notice like towards the end of the year or whatever I was thinking. And she's like, or you could really just embrace the chaos of this period and just kind of like get things kickstarted. And I knew that my leaving was going to be tumultuous no matter what. I knew it was going to cause some drama. And I was just like, you know what? Let's just be co-creators in the chaos of the eclipse, and I'm gonna crack the door open on this one and then kind of let the universe do the rest. Although these eclipse periods I think are very fated, there's a lot of like destiny involved and a lot of stuff that does happen without our control. I do believe that we still have agency, right? We can still decide to take action on things. We can decide to like co-sign on things with the universe that we're like, hey, yeah, I'm ready for this thing to kind of decompose. I'm ready for this new beginning to happen. And if that feels aligned, you should go ahead and go with it. So my practice for you this week is to really focus on your self-regulation. We've been moving through this very chaotic eclipse period for a couple of weeks now, and there's probably been a lot of things coming up for you emotionally. You may notice that your energy is very spotty, touch and go. You might feel like you've been overexerting yourself, and this is just a really great opportunity for us to do the things that we need to do to just kind of let stuff move through us, to try to be at peace and kind of like accept what's happening, and ultimately just to bring like a lot of compassion and unconditional love to your situation, to honor where you're at now, to not pressure yourself to make any moves or to react to anything, just to kind of accept the energy that we are in and just move through it as best as you can, doing those little regulation practices that help you feel grounded, that help you feel re-energized and help you feel rested and restored, because we have plenty of time to integrate all of the lessons and all the things that are coming up now. Now is not the time necessarily to like move fast or act on things that are coming up, unless of course it feels really aligned, in which case like go off and do your thing. But just know that there's no pressure to overexert yourself right now. Literally do the least and focus that energy on resting, hydrating, eating enough, moving your body in ways that feel good, like journaling, purging out any emotions that are coming up during this time that you want to just kind of like look at and get on paper and get out of your system. Meditation, you know, just quiet time alone, reading a book, whatever it is that makes you feel grounded, that allows you to replenish your energy and feel like a human, is highly, highly encouraged right now. And that's it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to hear what has been going on for you this eclipse season. What is emerging from the shadows? What's ending? What's beginning? Like, what are you doing to take care of yourself during this time? So please go ahead and drop a comment below and tell me how you're doing. I'm so curious. If you are looking for a little bit more one-on-one support and guidance, there's stuff that's been happening throughout this period that you want to unpack and decide ultimately what you want to do with it, go ahead and book a True You astrology reading with me. My calendar is linked below. Thanks again for being here, and we're almost through eclipse season, so just keep on keeping on, and I will be back next week. So happy lunar eclipse in Pisces, and I will see you then.